Per usual, Margaret does not know when to stop finding books she wants to read. Is anyone surprised? Hello, my lovely friend, it's Margaret, and it's time to nerd out about books. It is January 2019. I'm already reading 2 books. I'm feeling good about myself, and they're both books that I'm really enjoying, although I'm very worried about one of them. This is the TBR, kind of self-explanatory. I'm going to go through, tell you what books I'm going to read, and we're going to start with the 2 graphic novels that I will be reading. The first one is Wonder Woman Rebirth Volume 5, Heart of the Amazon. This has been on a couple of TBRs, and it is time to finally read it. I was like halfway through it. Oh, look at that. Just opened to like exactly the thing that Margaret always wants to see in a comic book, and that is kissing. This is top of the list because I need to get caught up on Wonder Woman and see where things are going. I'm hearing scary things. I have no idea what this is about. Nope, I don't even remember. I don't really look up, like, it's a sequel. I don't really look up what sequels are about. I just know it's Diana, and I love her now, so I guess I'm reading all of her comics. The other one I am going to be reading is Aquaman Volume 2. I want to say it is Black Manta Rising. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have it. It is still on its way to me through my library. I also know for sure that I'll be reading 2 audiobooks. One of them I've already started, and that is Wild Card by Marie Lu. I absolutely adored Warcross when I read it 2 years ago. Was it last year or was it the year before last year? I want to say it was a 2017 book, but I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. It left off at not a fun place, okay? It left out at a very bad place for Margaret's shipping trash heart. If you don't know, Warcross is about Amika Chen. She is a bounty hunter in the future, I guess, and there's this game called Warcross that she kind of hacks into and gets herself in a little bit of trouble. Very, very basic storyline, but just disaster happens, and it is fantastic, and I love it. The other book that I am going to be reading for sure is Two Dark Reigns by Cassandra Blake. It is the 3rd book in the 3 Dark Crowns series, the Queens of Finburn series. I'm not entirely sure. This is such a hard series to explain. 3 Dark Crowns is about 3 triplet sisters that are separated at the age of 6, and they're raised separately because basically once they hit 16, it is a fight to the death to see who is going to be the queen of Finburn, and only one of them can rule. I have some theories about why that happens, and I want to see if more about how we came about with that system of, hey, let's pit these girls against each other instead of letting them be powerful together. This came out last year. It was one of my most anticipated releases of last year, as was Wildcard. I just wasn't able to get to it in a timely fashion. So here we are. I'm going to be reading it this January. It is going to be one of my audiobooks for show. Now that those are out of the way, let's get to the 2 most important books on this TBR. If you've been on my Twitter, you know what these next 2 books are going to be. One of them I have. One of them I have to wait 7 more days for. The first one is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is about Jude Duarte. She was kidnapped by her parents' murderer at the age of 7 along with her 2 sisters, and they were stolen away to Fairy, where they are raised by Maddox, who killed their parents, and they're basically raised as if they were fairy gentry children, but they are still human girls, and she has to deal with all of the fairies hating her, and so her idea of dealing with the fairies hating her is to become better than them, to become the most powerful warrior they have ever known. And I love it. I loved it the first time. I'm loving it this time. I cannot wait for The Wicked King. In case you hadn't guessed, the second book that I'm going to be reading right after this, as soon as I finish this, is going to be The Wicked King by Holly Black, because I just need it, okay? I finished this book, and this is one that I was like, I really should have waited until we were closer to the release date of the second book, and I know I'm going to regret reading The Wicked King so much. I'm going to regret reading it as soon as it comes out. I'm going to regret it, but I'm also going to be happy that I read it. So I've been hearing so many good things about it. I'm so excited. Next on this list, and there is actually a deadline for this. I have to figure out when the live show is, but I'm also going to be reading The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is a reread it, and I am rereading it for the read-along that Rhiannon over at Crescent Moon Reads is going to be doing. I will link below to the information for that if I can find it. This is about Katniss Everdeen. She lives in a world where the remaining United States is divided into 12 districts, and every year each district has to send 2 children to compete in what are called the Hunger Games, and basically it's just these 24 children fighting to the death to see who will come out the victor, and the victor gets lots of money and food and all of that to kind of help their family and help them survive in this dystopian world. This is not my first time reading it. It will not be my last time reading it. I still remember where I was when I finished this book, because the way it ended, like, it was kind of done, but it definitely was not done at all. So, yeah, Glass. The next two books go together because I am trying to do a chronological reread of all of Cassandra Clare's works, and that includes reading the short stories that I skipped the first time, because for most of it, they didn't exist the first time I read the series. I am that old, yes. I'm going to be reading some of the stories from the Bane Chronicles, I think the first 3, and then from there I will be jumping directly into Clockwork Angel. I love these editions with these gorgeous spines, by the way. They are beautiful. They make my heart happy. So this is how I'm getting all the books, and I'm not sure what I'm doing with the hardcovers I own, because I already own this one hardcover. But look, it's my precious son, Will Herondale, who is so dark and broody, and definitely passed the broody genes down to his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson. It's probably too many greats, but we won't say who that is, because that's a spoiler. Anyways, focus, Margaret. This probably is my favorite Cassandra Clare series. I just love this series. It's one of the only series that has a love triangle where I was okay either way. Like, that never happens. I pick one option or the other, and if it does not work out, I will be pissed as can be and bitter for the rest of my life. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I am. I'm going to have so much fun, like, annotating this thing and reading it and highlighting stuff, and I've, like, yeah, I just had missed this weird font that's unlike any of, like, you can tell you're reading a Cassandra Clare book simply by the font. We're gonna see what I think of this series the second time around. I mean, I know a lot of people, like, loved Jason Clary at the beginning, and then after reading this or after reading The Dark Artifices are like, nobody cares about Jason Clary. I still care about them, but we'll see if I still do when I've finished reading through all of these. So the next book is a series that has been on my TBR for a very long time. It's been on my TBR since it had the really bad original cover. From what I've heard of the series, like, the original cover, like, doesn't even describe what's going on, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. If you've watched my November wrap-up, you know that somehow I ended up ACOTAR trash. I don't know how. I'm not sure how it happened. We're still trying to figure that out. But I figured it's time that I pick this series up because a lot of people who like ACOTAR like this series. I've heard things. I know, I'm aware of the controversy and all of that stuff, everything. Yes, okay, fine. But I want to read it anyways and make my own opinions because it sounds like it could be something that I would really like. It also sounds like it might be something that I'm just going to be, like, cringing through most of the book. But that's okay. Sometimes we just have to deal with those moments for our favorite characters. I'm looking at you, Sam. You're sitting here going, Margaret, how are you going to read all of these books? I don't know. I know for sure I will not be listening to Throne of Glass on audiobook. That is a definite no. But I will be reading Obsidium by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is one of the ones I know I will be reading because I am buddy reading it with Mia from Select Pages. I will link her channel down below. She is my wonderful friend. We read Gemina together, sort of. I was very slow, a little bit behind. And now we're getting ready to read Obsidium together because we are both really enjoying this series. I've loved both Illuminae and Gemina. Illuminae is still my favorite, but I cannot wait to dive back into this world, meet some new characters, see how things wrap up, watch some people get what's coming to them, you know, all that good stuff that you like in a book like this. This has definitely rekindled my love for sci-fi. And then the final book that I will be reading that I definitely have to read because it is for a read-along that I am hosting along with Min Kobayashi and Kinsey Lee T. And by now everyone knows I'm talking about Demigods Anonymous. And the next book that we will be reading for our read-along, which is The Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan. This is my second favorite book in the series. Can anyone guess why? I don't know what our live show is going to be for this because we have actually had to reschedule towards the end of January, beginning of February, something like that. I don't know. We are waiting for some things to settle down before we figure out what date it's going to be. But keep an eye on the Read DA Twitter so that you will know when our next live show is going to be. I'm hoping to announce that in the next couple of weeks. I was going to be so much better about my TBRs in 2019. I was actually going to make them, like, attainable, achievable, keep them at, like, 6 books. And I am failing massively. Tune in later to see if Margaret can actually read all of these books in 1 month. Spoiler alert, she probably can't. Please let me know down in the comments a book that you are planning on reading in January or one that you've been wanting to get to for a very long time. A lot of these are books that I have been meaning to get to for a very long time. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. I make videos 2 to 3 times a week about books and writing, and I would love to see your lovely face here on a regular basis. If you want more of me, you can can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Those are both at the word nerd with a 3 in nerd instead of the E. That is it for now, my friends. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!